So, what am I supposed to do now? What is this team even supposed to do now? No one knows. The offense was god-awful from the get-go, while the defense picked up the slack. Then, the offense starts clicking with Flacco, having some of his best career games under center. However, the defense allowed for the Bears and Jets to both have miraculous late-game comebacks due to abysmal gameplay. And now, this past week, I saw a completely different type of defense altogether. During the New England game, the rush defense was statistically the best it's been since week 1. We pulled a season high of 5 turnovers in Baltimore on Thanksgiving. Joseph Asai has stepped up on the edge with Stewart being out. Seeing guys like him, as well as some of our linebackers like Demetrius Knight and Carter, as well as, Miles Murphy getting in there too, they were all meeting the challenge of this game, and it was electric. And that's not even to mention Joe's return to the game. That was a true highlight here.
I've always wanted to play on Thanksgiving night.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
He definitely had to shake off the rust in the first quarter. Multiple red zone stops leading to Money Mac accruing 20 points through the game, and yet the offense pushed through. Having Joe's leadership on this field is the best part of this Bengals team, hands down. Hearing him talk to Ted Karras, his veteran center, was just a nice reminder that Joe is back. Chase Brown had one more rush than Samaje Perine. Brown was good on the ground and air. While Perine was serviceable, we still aren't perfect. Joe's first start since September started off rusty. Missed cues with Jamar, some of those red zone woes against a not too strong Ravens defense. It could have been better. We allowed multiple Lamar scrambles, which is something we should absolutely be prepared for at this point. So watching us still fall for something like that sucks. I don't want to rag on this game anymore though. I just want to point out these things that have still tripped us up as we prepare for our toughest game of the season, the Bills. This Bills game is going to be tough. If you watched how they treated the Steelers the other day in their own stadium, you know that the Bengals are capable of that same kind of rushing defense. And that's something I would hammer home hard if it weren't for the fact that our defense only allowing for 14 points against a Lamar Jackson Ravens team in Baltimore on Thanksgiving night. We haven't done that since we beat the Browns last year. So I have some mixed opinions of optimism going forward. I don't want to go into our chances too much as of now because they are still slim. These next 2 weeks are literal must-wins for this team. But by having Joe back, with him not losing a game in almost a year, having 9 back under our center is our best chances yet. And the only way that we'll do it is by taking the North. If we win the last 5 of our games, while rooting for the Ravens and Steelers to keep losing, we have a legitimate chance. This Ravens-Steelers game next week is going to be very important for both of those teams, and us. It's crazy how 1 week can be the difference between a top 10 pick and a playoff run. However, that has been the story of the Cincinnati Bengals for a long time now. After all, we only have a 6% chance of making the playoffs. I was going to look more into prospects this week, but seeing as our chances of getting a high draft pick are very much shifting currently, we can wait a while until we're sure where we are drafting for that. As for the rest of the league, well, I shouldn't have to tell you about that Steelers embarrassing loss. The NFL's highest paid defense, allowing the most rushing yards in stadium history to the Bills this past week. It was an epic show I would not like to replicate this next week in Cincinnati. The Bears take the top spot in the NFC, while Shedeur Sanders suffers his first loss as a starter. The Falcons get to learn what it's like to lose to the Jets, while the Vikings miss beating up on the Bengals, as well as Sam Darnold with an elite defense. With a broken hand, Justin Herbert beats up on the Raiders in LA, and the Broncos squeak by yet again. And now for the college coaching controversy that is taking over the college football world. Mark Stoops is out of UK. He will be running away with $38 million, so I'm not pitying him too much for losing the job. However, he has agreed to spread that contract out over many years, as opposed to the lump sum 60 days after the split. This money will also be taken out of the UK Athletic Fund. Being the longest tenured SEC coach is a privilege. Doing that while having nearly double the amount of SEC losses as wins means something is wrong. He has done some great things at UK. He turned us from an irrelevant football team to one with a sort of success. He won some Citrus Bowls. He has the most wins by a head coach in UK football history, with 22 more than Bear Bryant. However, he did have nearly 60 more losses than Bear Bryant. He brought us 4 bowl game victories as well as 5 seasons with national rankings. Looking forward, I'm optimistic. Kentucky came out and said they will be bringing in Will Stein for the head coaching job. That name may be familiar, and not just because of Willie Cauley-Stein, but because Stein quarterbacked for Louisville from 2008 to 2012, beating the Cats in only one of those years. He would bounce around doing small-time QC work and eventually took a job at UTSA as an offensive coordinator that would finish 12th in yards and 15th in points in the FBS. Seeing this, Oregon would bring him on to be an offensive coordinator in 2022. The team would average 43.7 points, second in college football. As of the end of the regular season in 2025, they have the 13th best offense by yards. He's had his fair share of great college quarterbacks with NFL experience. Bo Nix is on the Broncos right now, Dylan Gabriel was just benched for Shedeur Sanders, and now there's conversations about current quarterback Dante Moore declaring for the draft this year. It sucked losing to Louisville this week, especially by so many points. However, I think the future is looking bright. If Cutter Boley decides to stay at UK this season, I wouldn't be surprised to see some fireworks from him and Stein. All in all, this season wasn't as bad as last season. Some actual SEC wins came this year. We were a little hot near the end, and no one expected us to be that great. We actually did better than Vegas thought we would too, so I'll take that as a win. I'll keep an ear to the ground for UK football, so subscribe here to Big Lex as we come to the tail end of the NFL season. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment if you got something to say. I've been Big Lex, and I will see you next week.